Anthropic just built an AI model so powerful at finding security vulnerabilities that they are refusing to release to the public. Not because it's broken, not because it doesn't work, but because it works too well. In the last few weeks, the model found thousands of critical security flaws in every major operating system and web browser, including a 27-year-old bug. Yes, a 27-year-old bug in one of the most secure operating systems ever built, and a vulnerability in Linux that gives attackers complete control over a server. A bug that's been sitting there for 17 years. The model did this completely autonomously. No human guidance. Just point it at a code and watch it find exploits that millions of automated security tests had already missed. Today I'm breaking down this model and what it can do, I'm sure you heard of it, and why Anthropic won't release it, and what this means for the future of cybersecurity and AI safety. This isn't theoretical anymore. This is actually now starting to become a pretty serious thing. So if you haven't heard, the model is called Claude Mythos. I think the actual name is Claude Mythos Preview, but here's what makes it different. Most AI models are general purpose. They can write code, analyze data, answer questions. Mythos can do all of that, but it has a specific capability that emerged as a side effect of just getting really, really good at understanding the code. It can find security vulnerabilities better than almost any human on Earth. Let me give you context for how good this is. Finding security bugs is hard. You need to read and understand massive code bases, spot logic errors that break security assumptions, chain multiple small bugs together and exploits. Think of like a developer and an attacker. This has been traditionally a skill held by elite security researchers, people who spend years learning how the systems work, how they break, and how to exploit those breaks. Mythos can do this at scale, autonomously, across every programming language and every type of software. It's not just finding bugs, it's developing exploits, actually working attack code that proves a vulnerability is real and dangerous. Anthropic tested it on CyberGym, a benchmark for cybersecurity skills. It scored an 83%. The previous model, Claude Opus 4.6, scored a 66%. That's not incremental. That's a capability leap. Let me show you exactly what Mythos discovered in just a few weeks of testing. OpenBSD is known as one of the most security-hardened operating systems in the world. It's used to run firewalls and critical infrastructure specifically because it's so secure. Well, Mythos found a vulnerability that had been sitting in the code for 27 years. A flaw that allows attackers to remotely crash any machine running the OS just by connecting to it. 27 years. Thousands of security audits, and it was missed completely. Now the next one, you're probably pretty familiar with the name and exploits, but it's FMmpeg. FMmpeg is a software that encodes and decodes video. It's used by basically every piece of video software you've ever touched. YouTube, VLC, OBS, everything. Mythos found a 16-year-old vulnerability in a specific line of code that automated testing tools and had scanned 5 million times and never caught. The automated tools hit a bug. They just didn't understand it was a bug. Mythos did. Now the last one, and probably the biggest one, is the Linux kernel. The Linux kernel runs most of the world's servers. AWS, Google Cloud, your bank, it's all Linux. Mythos found multiple vulnerabilities in the kernel and chained them together autonomously to escalate the basic user access to complete control of the whole machine. This isn't just, I found this. This is, I found all these bugs, I figured out how to use them, and I built a working exploit that gives me root access. It did all of that in just a few weeks. That level of sophistication is what senior penetration testers do, and Mythos did it without any human guidance. So why isn't Anthropic releasing this model to the public? Well, because the same skills that make it incredible at finding vulnerabilities also make it incredible at exploiting them. And here's the thing about zero-day vulnerabilities. Once you know they exist, you have a choice. Option A, report them to developers, give them time to patch and make the world more secure. Or option B, use them to break into systems before anyone knows the flaw even exists. Mythos tips the balance of power dramatically towards whoever has access to it. Right now, finding these kinds of vulnerabilities requires a rare expertise. There aren't many people in the world who can do what Mythos does. That scarcity has been a natural defense. Most attackers don't just have the skills, but if you give this capability to everyone, if any moderately skilled attacker can spin up an AI agent and say, find me ways to break into the system, the number of cyber attacks would explode, not just in volume, but in sophistication. Anthropic is explicit about this. In their announcement, they said, "Given the rate of AI progress, it will not be long before such capabilities proliferate potentially beyond actors who are committed to deploying them safely. The fallout for economies, public safety, and national security could be severe." So instead of releasing it to the public, they launched Project Glasswing. Now, Project Glasswing is Anthropic's attempt to put this capability in the hands of the defenders before the attackers get it. Here's how it works. Anthropic is giving access to Mythos to a limited group. AWS, Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CrowdStrike, Google, JP Morgan, Linux, Microsoft, Nvidia, the list goes on. These companies are using Mythos to scan their own systems to find vulnerabilities and patch them before bad actors do discover them. Anthropic is committing 100 million in usage credits for this effort. That's not a marketing budget. That's a "we will subsidize you scanning your entire codebase for free because it's that important." They've also donated 4 million directly to open source security organizations because a huge amount of critical software is maintained by open source developers. The goal is simple: find and fix as many vulnerabilities as possible in the next 90 days before this capability becomes widespread. Because Anthropic knows and explicitly states that other AI labs will build models with similar capabilities soon. This isn't a permanent advantage, it's just a head start. The partners who already have early access are already seeing the results. Anthony Grieco, Chief Security Officer at Cisco, said AI capabilities have crossed a threshold that fundamentally changed the urgency required to protect critical infrastructure. Our foundational work with these models has shown that we can identify and fix security vulnerabilities across hardware and software at a pace and scale previously impossible. Igor, EVP of cybersecurity at Microsoft, said, "When tested against our internal security benchmark, Claude Mythos showed substantial improvements compared to previous models." Jim Zemlin, the CEO of Linux, also said, "In the past, security expertise has been a luxury reserved for organizations with large security teams. Open source maintainers have historically been left out to figure out security on their own. Project Glasswing gives maintainers of critical open source codebases access to an AI that can proactively identify and fix vulnerabilities at scale." These are security leaders saying this changes everything about cybersecurity. This is one of the clearest examples we've seen of AI capabilities outpacing AI safety. Anthropic didn't set out to build a cybersecurity model. Mythos Preview is a general purpose model that just got really good at code. The cybersecurity capabilities that emerged were a side effect. That's what makes this so concerning, and so interesting as well. We're at a point where improving AI at one thing, writing code, reasoning, automatically makes it better at things we didn't explicitly train it for, including things that can be used to cause harm. And here's the uncomfortable truth: Anthropic won't be the only company that reaches this capability either. OpenAI's GPT 5.3 Codex released in February and was classified as a high capability for cybersecurity tasks under their preparedness framework. Google has Big Sleep and CodeMender, both AI tools designed specifically to find vulnerabilities. The capability is already spreading. The question is whether defenders can stay ahead of attackers or not. Project Glasswing is a bet that they can, but only if they move fast and together. So what does this mean for you? If you're not a security professional, you might be thinking, okay, who cares, right? But here's what it actually means. The software you use every day, your browser, your operating system, the apps on your phone, they're all full of bugs all the time. Some of those bugs are security vulnerabilities that can let attackers steal your data or hijack your accounts. For years, the only thing protecting you was the fact that finding those bugs was hard. That's changing though. AI is making it easier to find vulnerabilities. That's the good news if you're a defender trying to patch them. That's very bad news if you're an attacker trying to exploit them. The next few months are going to determine whether defenders get enough of a head start to patch critical systems before widespread attacks begin. Project Glasswing is an attempt to make sure that happens. This is one of the most significant AI safety decisions we've seen from a major lab. Anthropic has made a model that can generate massive revenue if released publicly. They chose not to release it. That's the kind of decision making that we need more as AI gets more powerful. At the end of the day, we need more companies like this to make decisions that are not just solely about money. Because when it really comes down to it, they could be chasing money, and leave us in the dust. So if you found that this breakdown was useful, please subscribe. I try to cover all the AI news that actually matters and try not to hype things up. Thanks for watching, and remember, do more, never give up, and always stay humble. Bye.